Hi, hello everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to day 2 of Power BI live training session from Know-How Academy, where tech powers transformations. I'm M. Asif Hussain, your trainer, your mentor, and your coach. Let us have a quick recap of what all we have covered in our day 1 of our Power BI live training session. So, in day 1, we have seen how to install Power BI, what are the different types of business intelligence tools we have, why is Power BI the best. We have understood the interface, we have analyzed the data, which is a sales and marketing data, and then we have also seen how to perform a data operation. So let me give you a small overview about the ETL process where our users have a small doubt and they have requested us in order to just review back what is ETL process. So for this, let me share you the screen and explain it to you once again what is ETL. Here in day 2 of our Power BI live training session, we are going to see the introduction of DAX functions. We are going to see what are the kinds of relationships that we have in our Power BI. We are even going to see some of the business scenarios and what are the requirements that client might expect us from to do. And we will work on Power BI service, which is a very important and interesting part. And the last part of Power BI project, we will create the security and we will also look into what is a gateway, how to perform a gateway, and what exactly gateway does in Power BI. And finally, we'll see our interactive report. We will hands-on practically work on interactive report, and we will see how a dashboard can be prepared and it can be shared with the client. So now coming back, many of you people might have listened the word called ETL. Okay, many of you people might have listened the word called ETL. Now, what is ETL? ETL it stands for extract. E stands for extract, where you are going to extract the data from different data sources, and T stands for transform. And L stands for load. So if I want to give you an overview of what we have done with this in our last session, then it is very clear that the extract, it is nothing but your client, your customer, they might give you the data in any data source format. For example, I am your client, you are working as a Power BI developer in some XYZ company. Okay. So what I am doing, I am giving you my business data to you in order to prepare a report. Now, what is the format of the data that I am giving it to you? I am giving it to you in an Excel sheet. I am giving it to you in a database. I am giving it to you in a cloud platform. I am giving it to you in a CSV format. It might be in any format. So, whatever the format that the data is being received with you to you, so you have to extract that data into Power BI. That's where extract comes into the picture. Now, once we have extracted the data, the next step is we have to do the transformation. Now, if I want to make you understand in a very easy way, it is nothing but you have to clean the data. For what purpose we have to clean the data? We have to clean the data because we need to remove the duplicate records. We have to clean the data because we have to remove the null values. We have to clean the data because we have to remove the empty columns. Okay, so there might be many transformations that we have seen in our previous video, in the previous live training session. So for that purpose, we transform the data. Once the transformation is done, and in which particular tool are we performing the transformation? Power BI has a very good inbuilt technology. It has a very good inbuilt tool called Power Query Editor. So it has inbuilt data transformation tool which will be helpful in order to do the transformation. But if you take other tools, if you take other softwares, we don't have inbuilt tools, so we have to use some other platform to clean the data, come back, and we have to do it. So that's where Power BI had become a boom in the market. Now once we clean the data, then what we have to do, we have to load the data in order to perform our DAX functions and do the rest of the things. So that's where ETL comes into the picture. ETL stands for extract, transform, load. You are extracting the data from a different data source where client has given it to you. Then you are cleaning the data, which is transformation. After you have cleaned the data, you have to load the data into Power BI desktop so that you can perform DAX and create reports. Okay, so this is a very basic thing that we have to understand what is about ETL. Now, if I walk you through about the DAX function. Okay, so very important part, this is DAX function. Okay, so please understand it very carefully, how and what exactly is this DAX function. So I'll explain it to you in a general terminology, then we will understand what is DAX function. Okay, so we all know that we have been using this Excel sheet, right? We have been using this Excel sheet. Now in this Excel sheet, if you look into it, we might have used some formulas in order to get some result in Excel sheet. Am I right? Okay, it is very regretful situation nowadays that many people till today, you call yourself as, I have done my BTech in data science, I have done my BTech in computer science, I have done my BCom in computers, I have got this much CGPA, this much percentage and all. But many students till date, they do not know how to use Excel sheet. It is a fact. Many of them, they do not know how to use Excel sheet. Okay, so though you start just filling up the columns and rows in Excel, that is not Excel sheet. There are many things that you can do in Excel sheet. You can do formulas, you can write formulas, you can get some information, you can even create charts and all. So if you might have used Excel sheet properly, then some time or the other in till date, you might have used some formulas. Let me give you some example. Okay, sum equal to sum, and if we select the cell, we get a total, is equal to average, we get some average of the values. Then if you want to merge sums, so we have some formulas, if formula, count formula, and we all have all these things. Now the point here is that when we are calling the formulas in Excel sheet, the same formulas in Power BI, we call it as DAX function. For your basic understanding, I am telling it to you. The same formulas that we call it in Excel sheet, the same formulas we call it as a DAX functions in Power BI. There might be some 100 or 200 formulas in Excel sheet, but there are some 1200 plus DAX functions in Power BI. Okay, some advanced features, some advanced calculations that we have. So what is this DAX function? What does it stands for? So DAX function stands for data, DAX stands for data analysis, it stands for data analysis expression, data analysis expression. Okay, so DAX abbreviation, if I talk it to you, DAX stands for data analysis expression. So what are we going to do here? What are we doing here? It is very simple. We are doing some analyzation over the data. Okay. So now coming to the picture. Why should we use this DAX function? What is DAX functions? We have seen. What is DAX function? So why should we use this DAX function? If I talk about the question why, then we all should understand one important thing. The data that we receive from the client, okay, they give us the data in their own perspective, how their business is going on. Okay. So now data might be some XYZ, but the requirements might be some ABCD. The client's requirement will be something like ABCD. So now the point here is, when the client is asking some requirements over their business so that they can see those requirements in a report. Okay. So many of the requirements, if you want to match it, or if you want to clear, or if you want to make the requirements happen in Power BI, we might not have the appropriate data in a data set. For that, what we have to do? We have to calculate something from the data set and meet the client's requirement. Let me give you example. For example, there is a two-wheelers or four-wheelers showroom data set with us. Okay. So for example, let us take Toyota, let us take Hyundai, let us take Kia. Nowadays it's trending. Let us take MG. So now these car showrooms, if I talk about, so the showroom manager or the dealership of the owner who is having that showroom, they want to see how much sales they have got for Toyota Innova, how much sales they have got for Toyota Fortuner, how much sales they have got for Toyota Glanza, or how much sales they have got for Kia Sonet, how much sales they have got for Kia Seltos. So if they want to see these kind of information, we don't have the individual informations there in the data that we got it from the client. What do we have? We have the overall sales of the showroom. For example, the showroom is doing some 14 crores business. Now out of that 14 crores, how much sales we have got for each car, that we want to find out. That is not there in the data, but that kind of data we have to calculate it using DAX function. Is that clear? So this is where DAX functions comes into the picture. Okay. So in order to meet the client's requirement, some of the data may not be readily available to show it in a report. For that, we need to calculate it from the data and meet the client's requirement. That's where DAX functions comes into the picture. Now, what all the things that we have in a DAX function? What all the things that we have in a DAX function? Let me show it to you. Number one, we have something called as new column. I'll tell you what are all these in detail. Do not worry about it. We have something called as new column. Number two, we have something called as new measure. Okay. We have something called as new measure. These are very important. We should know this before we are working on DAX directly. That's where I want to explain it to you and take some time for this in order to explain it to you everything in detail. We have new column. We have new measure. We have something called as a new table. With the name itself, you can understand what exactly this means. We have new table. Then we have something called as quick measure. We have something called as quick measure. No, you want to measure something very quickly? No, it's not like that. Okay, so let me explain it to you all these in detail. Okay, when I am talking about new column, in the name itself we have new column. We want new column in the data set. Am I right? For example, there are 5 columns in the data when we have received the data from the client. I am repeating it again. We have only 5 columns 5 original columns in a data when we have received the data from the client. Now the point is that in order to meet the client's requirement, we need to calculate some information. So for that, what I am doing, I am choosing new column. So what this new column will do, as I already have 5 new columns, to this one new column will be added. For this, one new column will be added. So like this, if you choose new columns n number of times, those many times the new column will be added along with the 5 original columns that you have received from the client. So with this, what happens is that the size of the data will be increased. With this, what will happen? The size of the data will be increased. When the size of the data is increased, there might be the probability that when we are performing some operation in this DAX function, we might touch and do some sort of changes to the original columns also. With this, what will happen? Your original data might get misplaced. Okay. So new column, when we are opting for a new column, we can see that a new column in a data set, we can physically see that. But what? You are increasing the size of the data when you are adding n number of new columns. Coming to the next one, new measure. What will new measure do? New measure also will do the same type of calculations that new column will do, but you cannot physically see what all the calculations you have done like a new column. Okay, let me explain it to you this one again. What all the calculations you are trying to do using a new column, most probably that kind of calculations, few of those calculations which are not allowed in new column and new measure, you can do those calculations. But the point is that when you are doing using a new column, we can see the data physically, right? But in a new measure, we cannot see the data physically in a data set, but it will be stored inside the variable. Okay, I will show you. Please do not worry, I will show it to you. Very important interview question. What is the difference between new column and new measure? When we opt a new calculated column, we can see the column physically in the data set and the size of the data set will be increased. When we are talking about new measure, we cannot see the data physically, but it will be stored inside a variable. So this is a very easy difference that we can tell at the time of interviews. The next thing we have it here is a new table. If you want a new table, we can click on new table, then a new table will be coming in a data. So it's very simple. Now, what is quick measure? Quick measure is nothing but, see, in a new column, in a new measure, what type of calculation we want, we have to manually do it. What kind of DAX function we want, we have to manually choose it. Power BI has 1200 plus DAX functions. Depending upon the client requirements, depending upon the business scenario, we have to choose appropriate DAX functions and we have to do it. Now coming to the point, the quick measure when I am talking about this quick measure, we should not manually enter some DAX functions. We should not manually do something. Alright. So what's happening here? There are some predefined calculations in a quick measure. Just we have to choose the columns and select what type of calculation we want and we'll get it. For example, when we are filling up some application form in online, let me give you a small example. When we are filling up one application online, in that it will ask us enter your college name, it will ask us enter your university name. Okay, So there are two types. One, you have to manually enter your college or university name. Second, there are already some college and university names in the drop down, just you have to select it, right? So the quick measure is in a second type. Already the options will be there. Already some calculations will be there. Just we need to click on it, choose what columns we want, we will get the result. Okay. So DAX, some DAX are already inbuilt in that. So we have to just drag the columns, get the result. Okay. This is quick measure. So these are the four things that you have in a DAX function that you should be aware of before started working on DAX functions. All right. So now let me get you back to Power BI. So in a last training yesterday, we have extracted the data, we have transformed the data, we have analyzed the data, we have loaded the data into Power BI. We have done what? We have loaded the data into Power BI. Now what we have to do? We have to perform the DAX functions based upon the requirements. Alright. So now in the previous class, in the previous live session, I have shown you how this year, month, day, month name, day name, we can easily get with the 2 to 3 clicks in Power Query Editor, right? So now the same thing, if I want to get it using a DAX function, the same thing, if I want to get it using a DAX function, how should I do that? Let me show it to you. For this, what we have to do, please make sure in which table you are. So here I am in the order master table. So now what I am doing under this order date, so I am choosing something called as a new column. Say this: new measure, quick measure, new column, new table. These are the four things that we need to calculate. So now what I am doing here, I am choosing new column. When I have clicked on a new column, a new column is physically visible here in a data set. Now I have to write what is my column name. Please make sure that two column names should not be same. Two column names should not be same. So for this, what I am doing here, let me choose day first. So, or let me choose year first. Here we have calculated year. So Y1, as I have already the column header year, I am not choosing the column header year name again. I am just writing Y1. So Y1, the DAX function is year itself. So the interesting thing about the DAX functions are that when you write just one or two, for example, if I have just written Y, then in the drop down, what all the DAX functions we have related to Y, everything will get it. Okay. So out of all this, I need year. So when I click on this year, it is also telling us what is the syntax. Alright. So based upon the syntax, if you follow, we will get the result very easy. That's it. This is what Power BI is. Okay. It's very easy. So when I'm talking about Power BI, we do not have any coding in it, but yes, we have something called as DAX functions, which is the heart of Power BI. Now, it is asking me what? When I have chosen year, it returns the year of a date as a 4-digit integer. It is giving us the value in an integer format. Now, date column. Where do we have date column? We have date column under order master table, order date column. So you need to write the table name and the column name. So where do we have it? We have it under order master table. We have it under order master table, order date column. So when I choose it, click on enter, you will get the year. It's very simple. In the same way, if I want to get the month as how we have calculated, I am clicking on a new column. No two column names should be same. So as I have already the month name here, I'll just write M1 equal to when I'm talking about M1, it is not BTech M1 Mass 1 subject. Okay, do not worry about it. It's just a column name M1. M1 month is a DAX function. Month of what it is asking us? It is telling me to mention the date column where it is. We have it under order master table, order date column, table name, column name, order date, close the parenthesis, enter. We have got the months. In the same way, if I want to calculate the day, I am choosing a new column, D1. D1 equal to day of, where do we have the date column? Order master of order date. Close it, click on enter. We have got the day. Okay. Now you might have a question. Okay sir, you are telling me how to calculate year, month, day. We have a very easy DAX function. We have year, we have month, we have day. So my question is, sir, how can we find out this month name? That also I'll show it to you. In a Power Query editor, just with 2 to 3 clicks, we have got month name. Am I right? But using a DAX function also, we can find out month name. How can I find out? That I'll show it to you. So I will click on new column. I will choose month name. So as I have already the column name as month name, I will write it as MN1. Okay, month name 1. For this, we need to use the DAX function called format. Okay, format, because we want to format it, right? So format, what it is telling, format function, it will convert a value to text. Whatever the value we have, it will convert the value to text in a format that we want. So what is the syntax? First we have to write the value. What is the value? Where do we have this date information? That value we have to enter it. Where do we have it? We have it under order master order date, comma. Now, what is the format you want? In which format you want? For that, double quotations. I am writing month name. We want month name, right? That's why I am writing M 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double quotations close. Enter. We have got the month name. Now you might have a question. Why did you choose only 4 M's? What happens if I choose only 3 M's? I'll show it to you. If I choose only 3 M's, then instead of getting the complete month name, we will get only the first 3 letters of the month name. Okay. You might have another question. I know many people have this kind of questions. Okay. So, okay sir, you have shown me 3. You have shown me 4. When it is 4, then complete month name. What happens if I write 5 times? Okay, I'll show you. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times again. Then what is happening? You will get the month name. Along with that, you will get the number of the month. So, November, which is 11. Okay. So, better to choose only 4 M's where we will get the complete month name. In the same way, I have days. I want to get the day name, as how I have got this Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Monday and all. So I'll click on new column. I will write the day name, DN1 equal to format. This is very important. Format function. Where do we have the date information? We have it in order master of order date, comma. So for month name, we have chosen 4 M's. For the day name, we need to choose D, 4 D's. Double quotations close, bracket close. If you see here, we have got the day name. What happens if I take only 3 D's? I will get only the first 3 letters of a day name. FRI Friday, MON Monday, something like this. Alright. So DAX functions are very easy. Just we need to understand the syntax. We need to understand the logic. We need to understand the requirement. Okay. So now if I walk you over the sales table, we have the sales column. Okay, so now my sales table is also having profit column. Okay, so we have got profit for each segment. Can you see this one? So for each row ID. So now the point is that my client wants to see what is the total profit and what is the average profit. How should we find it out? How should we find out the total profit? How should we find out the average profit? They will not ask you in a real time like this, please show me total profit. No. So as we are working on a project, we cannot show the profit for individual product, right? Because there might be thousands of product. So for thousands of product, with this 111 profit, I cannot show it. It takes a very big size of an image. So what I can show them? I can show them that this is your total profit, this is your average profit. So that I have to calculate it. How should I calculate? Now what I am doing, I am not choosing new column, as these are the aggregations. Okay, so we have to go with a new measure. I am clicking on new measure. So what I have to do here, I have to find out what is my total profit. So for that, what I am writing the column name as total profit equal to total profit. How can we find out total? These are some 5th standard math questions. How can we find out total? Can anyone comment me in the chat box? How can we find out total profit? What DAX function should we use it? Can anyone answer me in the comment section, please? In order to find out total profit, what is the function I have to use? How can we find out total? You leave DAX function. In a 5th standard, in a 7th standard, we might have learned it. In order to find out total, we have some word. We have some keyword. What is that? Can anyone please answer me in the chat box? Anyone please? No one? All right, let me answer it to you. In order to find out total profit, what is the word to calculate the total profit? Selling price minus cost price. No, we already have the profit. If we don't have this profit column, then we have to go with the formula what you have told Mr. Narayan. But Jay Patel, we have to find out total profit. We should not find out average profit. Okay, so if you want to find out average profit, the answer that you have mentioned, average, that is 100% correct. Okay, but we need to find out total profit. So in order to find out the total profit, the very simple DAX function that we have to use is sum. Total, man, we have to total it. We have to sum it. It's very simple. Okay. So we have to use sum. Sum of what is the column? It adds all the numbers in a column. So what is the column? Under sales table, we have profit column. Profit. Okay. Click on enter. Sum of profit. So we have got the profit. Now this is what I want to show you. My dear viewers, my friends, please look into this. When I have chosen a new column, we can see that always a new column got added. Am I right? But if you see this, when I have chosen a new measure, when I have selected a new measure and I have performed this total profit, I did not get any new column. Can you see this one? No new column is physically visible when you are choosing new measure, but the value will be stored inside the variable. Please look into my right side here. In the bottom right side, please look here. You have total profit. You got it under sales table, but this total profit is not visible here in the data set physically. That is the difference between new column and new measure. Okay. Now let me show you this total profit. What is the total profit? Let me show it to you. For this, what I am doing, I am choosing a chart. I did not tell you the chart, but I will show you. I am choosing a small chart called card chart. A card chart is used for a specific key number. If you want to show only one value, if you want to show only one information, then we have to use a card chart. I am clicking on this card chart. And I am adding the data. What data? Which data? Total profit data, which is under my sales table. I'll click on total profit. We can see that my total profit is 286.40. 286.40k is my total profit. Okay. So now in the same way, if I want to find out average profit, if I want to find out my average profit, how should I find it out? For this, I am clicking on new measure again. I am writing the column name. As average profit. Now tell me, what is the function I have to choose? In order to find out my average profit? Can anyone please comment me in the chat box? How to find out the average profit? What is the function I have to choose? Average. Very good. Excellent. Jay Patel, I congratulate you. Okay. So in order to find out average profit, we have to choose the DAX function average. So for this, I will write average. So AVERAGE, the complete word you need to write it. Okay. Very good. Average of what column? My profit column. Where do I have my profit column? Under sales table. Okay. Click on enter. We will get our average profit. Let us cross check it out. Okay. So I am taking a new card chart again, and here I am adding the data, and my data here I want to see my average profit. So my average profit is 28.66, which is my average profit. 28.66, which is my average profit. All right. Now I have two questions for my users. I have two questions for my viewers. I have two questions for those who are watching my live now. The first question is that please comment in the chat box, how can I find out what is my first value, what is my least value in sales table. So I have this sales table. Am I right?